Hey guys, Scott here. Just a small little patch for DBD today, although a pretty big nerf and buff to Hillbilly at the same time. A couple of add-on tweaks and things like that. Let's just go over it in the order that they've listed them. First is the Iridescent Blight tag. This was the add-on that allowed you to have infinite rushes with Blight, but it would cancel as soon as you swung or broke a pallet or hit somebody or did anything. The add-on was really fun, and I feel like that one wasn't insanely problematic. I didn't have too many problems with it after they made it so it actually gets used up if you miss a swing, because previously on the PTB you could just miss a swing and just have all your charges again and just try over and over again. So the cooldown started no matter what, and I think that was a good version of it. Now they just completely changed it again, so now you're just limited to 3 rushes, and now your maximum rush look angle is higher, and you also rush faster by a pretty large amount. 20% is huge. That is significantly higher than both the Blighted Crow and Rat add-ons. However, those add-ons, they work consecutively based on the number of rushes. So by the end, it's faster, but by the beginning, this would be significantly faster. So I don't know. I'm not really sure how that is. 3 rushes sounds not great, especially, I don't know. I'd have to mess around with this one a bit. It seems like this is more of a meme iridescent. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great, because even the best blights sometimes need that 4th or 5th bounce to be able to hit somebody. So yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. But the if this had like increased turning angle, then I could see that being insanely good. But maybe they didn't want it to be insanely good. So yeah, I'm not really sure about this one. But it is vastly different than it used to be. We had a very short period of time with the Infinite Rush meme, but it was fun while it lasted. So now Hillbilly. Here is the main point of contention. So basically what they did with the cooldown, they reduced it back to the old cooldown movement speed, which is I think 1.84 meters a second on the dot. So they reverted the speed back to old Billy, which feels bad. However, the cooldown is faster than old Hillbilly. It was 3 seconds versus I think 2.5 now. So the cooldown is still significantly faster, but your speed is now the slower movement speed for those for that duration now, which doesn't feel good. So that is absolutely a nerf. Now, did this need the nerf? I really think it was mostly just these guys right here, which were also nerfed. So he got a double cooldown nerf, basically. I mean, granted, these are pretty minor. 2 and 3% is pretty minor, but that goes from 15 or 20% cooldown to 15% cooldown reduction. And yeah, that's somewhat noticeable, but it's really the base kit changing that's the main deal. Now, that seems bad, because it seems like Billy didn't really need much of a nerf other than the cooldown add-ons, which, to be fair, were kind of silly. Other than that, he was mostly, I think, pretty well done. However, they did give him a not very clearly stated, but insanely important buff. And it's this line right here. Increased initial turn rate adjustment duration to 1 second was 0.75. For most people, the turn rate at the beginning of your chainsaw is just simply an annoying thing that makes you miss because it goes all over the place. It's very hard to control. For very good Hillbillies, this is an insanely huge buff. To conceptualize exactly why that's the case, I'll go to my boy Numi on Twitter here to show you. So this is Billy curving around with the changes. So normally with a curve, you would stop the curve about right here. And at which point you would have to continue going straight past this tree into this, into this tile right here. However, because this now lasts 0.25 seconds longer, you can continue that curve and go around the entire loop. So this enables you to get hits at a lot of tiles you would not be able to get a hit at anymore. And that is extremely good. So that is something that we're going to have to see the really good Billy players mess around with. But the cooldown reduction's a nerf, but that is actually an insane buff. But it's a very high skill cap buff that probably won't apply to most people that play Billy. So I feel like to most people, this will feel like an overall nerf to Hillbilly. To the very good Hillbillies, this is probably going to be either a side grade or a buff. Considering they're going to be hitting more chainsaws than people that are new to Hillbilly, the cooldown is not as important. And this ability to hit at a bunch of different tiles now, that additional 1/4 of a second of extreme turning is huge. So that is going to be interesting to see. I think overall, in the hands of a good Billy, this is a buff. In the hands of an average Billy, it's sort of a neutral. In the hands of a bad Billy, this is a nerf. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see about the how people are getting hits at loops that they previously couldn't now, because the skill cap has increased even further on Billy now. He's already the hardest killer in the game, so definitely interesting changes there. Champion of Light was changed, so now it works with any form of blind. You don't have to be holding a flashlight to get the hindered. Obviously, the haste part is only going to work if you're holding a flashlight, because You're not going to get haste just running around with a flashbang. That'd be very silly. So it works with like flashbangs, blast mine, anything that's going to apply a blind effect, firecrackers, all that stuff. Anything that's not a default flashlight will still give you the hindered for the 6 seconds, which is really, really good. This is actually an insane buff if you bring flashbang or firecracker, because if a killer kicks a pallet, just drop a flashbang. You're not even slowed down anymore. You can be running away as you're dropping it, and then the killer also gets slowed down for 6 seconds by 20%, which is huge. So that is a great, great way to get a ton of distance after breaking a pallet, or after forcing a killer to break a pallet. Because flashbangs, like I said, you can just drop them and just run as you'll gain more distance. Now with Champion of Light, you do have haste, so you lose less distance blinding them, but you're still, you would gain way more just dropping a flashbang or a firecracker and running. So this is actually a pretty notable buff, and overall, I consider this perk to be actually kind of strong. Other than that, a couple of other bug fixes. Interestingly, they didn't fix a lot of the really, really nasty bugs that are out right now, like the whole reactive healing, locker, full heal thing. There's also, I don't even want to talk about them. I will just say right now, there are a ton of very game-breaking bugs in the game right now, like that make the matches straight up unwinnable for a particular side, that were not addressed here from what I can see. Let me just... No. Yeah, that one is definitely still there. It's good they fixed this one. This is one of the ones I was talking about. But for the most part, there are definitely a couple of bugs in this game that are really bad right now that they need to fix. I'm sure they're aware of what they are because a bunch of people have reported on it already. I'd rather not spread it any further than that. But that's going to be it for this patch. Thanks for watching.